is it natural to not be attracted to a very attractive woman to you? I don't think so.
Yeah, those 34 double D tits are disgusting. So gross.
Oh my God. What type of shit makes you guys cry?
Someone reaches a cool accomplishment that you know they've been working hard for. It's hard not to get choked up about it. You're like,
You progressively overload your intake.
This guy's really dope. A lot of the answers that he's been giving, like first off, that answer took a lot of balls. I've heard you say multiple times that your dad was your hero.
yeah, if I could be the same dad to my kids as he was to me, then I think mission accomplished. That'd be pretty cool. PNC, what were you guys talking about?
Yeah, we were just asked a question. PNC, short for post nut clarity.
Oh.
We were just asked from Owen. Actually, Owen, real quick, come over here and ask that question because I want the phrasing of the question fully done. So
I just got to get his microphone turned on.
Yeah, you're good to go now.
I'm good. All right,
Yeah, you're
sick.
good.
I'm back in the studio.
Yeah.
I guess the question was, so after you finish things,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
is
Coitus.
getting post-nut clarity a red flag or is not getting it a green flag?
And Andrew had some great insight.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that you always get post-nut clarity, and depending on whether it's good or bad, like it doesn't matter. You're going to get post-nut clarity, but if you get it where it's bad, we'll use the word regret. You're just like, oh, shit, post-nut clarity, I shouldn't have did that.
I did it again. Damn it.
Or you don't have regret and you're just like, I made the right decision. But you will still get post-nut clarity regardless of, quote, good or bad, emotions that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely shouldn't have jerked off to that.
Yeah. Like that.
That was gross.
I don't want to build a kink with this. This isn't good for me.
I got issues. That's the last time I do that. Okay, putting the phone
I
away.
know I said that last time, but this
Delete.
time I mean it.
No,
Damn
that
it.
was really disgusting.
Yeah.
That guilt.
This kind of, okay, I don't know if I'm staying on here for however long, but this kind
Go
of
for it.
got it. It reminded me of something that Hamza said a while ago. It's you progressively overload your porn intake. So
Yes.
so you know how
Especially the intensity.
yeah, because I don't know if you guys
Body becomes
remember,
accustomed and accommodates to the resistance. I get it.
because I don't know if you remember when you first started watching it. You look up when you're like 14 or whatever. You're like
Boobies.
boobies with bra or something. And then you look up like boobs clean or something like that. And then eventually it's just like you're
Stuck in a dryer.
stuck in a dryer, 20 tabs open,
Right.
3 of them being hentai with tentacles or whatever. The fuck. It's like, how the fuck did I get here?
I gotta say, some of that stuck in the dryer shit was kind of hot. But
Yeah, I don't understand.
it's
that
problematic. My hand's stuck in the sink. Help, help.
Oh, those are fake?
one. It's like, what
I
a
thought those young
coincidence.
women were really stuck.
I did too.
I thought this was a Casey Neistat vlog. What's happening?
That was a good question, Owen. Thank you.
Thank you, Owen. Everybody, that's
Guys, this is
Owen.
Owen. He helps us
Hey.
do a bunch of our video editing and stuff. He's been with us for years. Thank you.
He
Thanks,
doesn't
Owen.
help us. He actually edits it.
He edits. Yeah.
He does it.
He does it.
I do everything.
Yeah, that's everything.
Oh, yeah, thank
Later,
you.
bro.
So we got part two.
Part dos of alpha versus beta.
out.
Also, guys, I think we already mentioned this, but answer the questions to these prompts, and then we're going to choose somebody to give some goodies to. So make sure your questions are in the comments.
But you got to answer all of them.
Yep.
Can't miss one.
And you need to be in the Discord so we can get in contact with you if you win.
Discord.
I am great at sex.
Oh, come on, man.
Who the fuck's gonna say no?
What initially hits you guys before we hear what they're going to say?
Well, there's two quick things, and the first one that I thought of was like, well, who's gonna say no?
No one's going to say no.
But at the same time, like it does feel weird to be like, dude, I fuck. Like I'm digging in those guts, and like it's like, well,
I'm a sex god.
yeah, that's kind of weird too. Actually,
Right.
now that I think about it, Ooh,
No one's going to say they're not good.
yeah.
I would say everything's a skill set, right? So, like, how much studying you've been doing, how much practicing you've been doing.
Yeah.
Communication.
And then
Yeah.
if it's like, and see what you understand this, if you have your one training partner in jujitsu that knows all your stuff, how good are you until you go and test it out on someone else?
Right? You go and you have a new training partner and like none of your moves work on them.
Yeah.
They're passing everything.
They're super bored.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, I need to get better.
Yeah, you try something on one person and it works great, and you try it on another person, like, what are you doing?
Uh-huh.
Why are you spending so much time trying to do that? Whatever it is you're doing, it ain't working.
Exactly.
You're like, fuck, I gotta switch up my game plan.
Let's see what the fuck they say.
Prove it. right now.
Bro, this was a chance to redeem yourself.
No, I know, but it's just
All right.
Actually, I'm gonna go back.
He leaves.
With my partner, my wife, I'm able to not only connect physically, but also emotionally. You know, and I think that's the biggest trick I've learned. Not trick, but the thing I've learned about my years of being with my partner. You have to sort of like, you know, keep the spice going.
I'm better at sex with women I care about. You know, so I think, and me being a player and a guy who goes out and talks to a lot of different women, you know, if with my girlfriend or like my wife or whatever like that, sex would be great. With the other girls, it can still be good, but I know that I don't really put in that much effort because it's almost like I'm masturbating with someone.
and next thing you know, you're
Hey, yo, like, I mean, at least he was being honest there.
Yeah.
Like, he's hooking up with girls and he's just trying to get a nut.
Mhm.
And once he gets his nut, he's like, rides into the bushes. I'm out.
He's not that concerned about getting a good score.
Yeah. That's it. That's what happens with hookup culture. That when people are hooking up a lot, like sometimes just like, okay, how can I get mine off? And I really don't care about her that much. She's just a fleshlight at this point.
I have sex tattooed on my chest. Can I?
Bro, it wouldn't take much. Half
No,
of it's out, bro.
it's right here on my rib.
Okay. All right.
said it
And
wouldn't
it's
take much
it's
to, like, take
a
it off.
gold one too. Not even like a.
I think the biggest thing I've ever heard from my sexual partners is like, wow, you really caught me off guard. And I think that's like a big part of it.
I don't get that. You caught me off guard. Sneak attacked me. What?
Maybe he's packing some heat. I don't know.
Yo,
Oh, okay.
that build, he's probably massive. It's always the rail thin ones that are just walking around.
Probably why he's got to wear a dress so that way, because he can't wear pants. He probably can't stuff that thing in there.
Exactly.
So is this like an argument with myself?
Tell us why you're terrible at sex. You missed it. He stripped.
No, I did see that. I saw it. I disagreed because I just feel like it's such a typical conversation and belief that every guy believes they're great at sex. And to be real, when I talk to my girlfriends, none of them have good sex with guys unless it's, like you guys said, your partner. Then you can get better at it, right? And you know what they like. So that's what I mean. Like, I think I'm great with my girlfriend, but if I was to generate and say, like, I'm great at sex, I'd be like, oh, I didn't, you know, almost every girl I slept with before probably never even got off, really. But to say, like, I'm great at sex, you know, I can bring a dildo in, you know, like, it's just like, I mean, I'm nothing against that. Like, I like all kinds of dildo. Why'd you look at me like
I was wondering why you said
This is so wholesome. dog. This guy's really dope. A lot of the answers that he's been giving, like, first off, that answer took a lot of balls to say, like, yeah, great with my girlfriend, but if I can honestly say, a bunch of the girls I've been with, maybe they didn't get off. Like, he just said that to over 700,000 people to watch this video, right? Like, that's a massive level of vulnerability and honesty. It's really cool. And these guys are just, they're the whole conversation's sick.
Women should not be in position of power.
Well, what do we think? Hell no. I mean, your wife is in a position of power.
Yep.
She kills it.
Yep.
I think I know a lot of women in positions of power. So
Yeah, I know of, like, you know, like Andy and a couple of other examples of like women in power, and they do really well. That's such a, I don't know, that's a weird question to me. Like, not weird, it's just like what exactly positions in power, like.
Well, they ask that question because, like, sometimes you'll hear guys say, like, you know, it's not good to have women in positions of power because they're too emotional.
Oh.
Being able to, like, they go on, you know, how they're feeling sometimes. So they're not, that's what people say as to why women shouldn't be. But it's like,
Yeah. Oh,
This
damn,
is such a
nobody
big
wants it.
of course.
game over, just like his hand says.
I'm the
This
only
man,
one. I
yo.
think a woman can be in a position of power only by herself, but not in relation to being in a relationship with a man. Because when she's in a relationship with a man, the man has to be the leader. The man has to be the one that's guiding the situation, directing the situation. If it's in any other situation by herself with work, with her friends or whatever, she can do whatever she wants to do.
If I'm understanding this right, he's saying like, if she can do that when she's around other women, she can be in positions of power. But when she's with a man or in a relationship with a man, like the man should be in the position of power. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about the whole leadership aspect of a man in a marriage or a relationship? Because you hear that a lot. You hear like men say men should be the leaders, you should be leading the direction. And I understand it. But I guess one of the reasons why like I wonder is like, yeah, it's good to be able to lead in the direction, but don't you want the person you're with to also have the ability to have good understanding of what direction you guys should be going in? Like, should it all be on you as the leader, as the man? What are your thoughts?
I don't know how much it matters. I'm not sure. When it comes to like vacations and things like that, my wife plans most of the things most of the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, she kind of directs all that stuff. And most of the men that I know, I would say they'll usually say, you got to ask my wife. If I said, what are you doing on like the 4th of July? They'd be like, oh, ask my wife. Because the wife has something planned. There's some sort of party or something you're going to. So, and women a lot of times too, like, I guess this is like maybe not as in favor nowadays, but maybe it is. I don't know. A lot of women like manage the money in the household as well. Even if it is the man's money, even if it is coming mainly from the male, it seems like a lot of women are the ones like checking the account, checking the credit card, checking the bills, again, that's just some stuff that I've seen. Maybe it's because of my age or whatever. I'm not sure. Moving these people around a lot.
I first want to ask, because there was a lot of like has to, have to's, but like not really a reason behind it. Like, can I ask, like, what's your reason behind like why a man has to be in power? Why can't a woman be in power?
Power is such a weird word. I would say more like the leadership role. And the thing is that a man has to lead a woman. He has to guide a woman, because what happens is that when it's the opposite, when a woman is leading that man, she usually loses respect for him. When she's in a relationship with a man who is, under her, who's submissive to her in a lot of different situations, then she starts to lose respect for him because she's looking for a man to lead and guide her. If you notice, they have sex with the bad boys, but then the nice guys get tossed to the side. You see, like, why is that?
Well, if you look at them psychologically, they have past traumas and issues probably. But like, look, there's women for you, right? I mean, like, you're on a different scale. What I would say, some women want a guy like you because they don't want to do anything, right? They don't want to take that position. I'm around a lot of women who don't want that. They're in positions of power, not just in work, career, at home. I know a lot of them. I do business. I find women much more pleasant to do business with. But when you're talking about maybe being at home, I don't know. It's just like, I think when you get into your part, your end of the pond, it can get a little bit mucky. You know what I mean? And I don't really subscribe to that as well.
I heard you say you were from New York. I lived in Manhattan for 30 years as a fashion designer in the heart of Manhattan. She was working as a fashion editor. I held it down with the 3 kids. I was the one bringing the money home. I was the one doing that. After my son, my youngest, went back to school, she went back to work. I always wanted to have my own collection. She was like, you should do that now. So guess what? She had the job. She paid the bills while I was building my company. So I could be strong in our relationship and be a man in our relationship, but I also got to know what it means to have a partner next to me. And not someone that I have to lead.
What do you guys think of the idea of like, I think that Mr. Locario guy said it. If a woman ever has to be in a position of power, she will lose respect for you. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that you do hear some guys say. Like if she ever has to help take care of, let's say that there is a time where things get a little bit rough for you and she needs to step up a little bit, she'll lose respect for you. What do you guys think that says? What do you guys think of that idea? Because there are some people that's happened to, right?
Yeah, I think, the man's going to have to step up and take their part, So I think that, you can't just be like a doormat.
Oh,
you
hell
know,
no.
if the roles are reversed a little bit and the wife leads more stuff here and there, probably not a huge deal. But if she has to lead everything all the time, and that's becoming like a big stressor, that's probably not great. My wife does lead a lot of stuff, but then when it comes to certain other things, she's like, oh, you know, you need to kind of take this, or I just sometimes just know, you know, like, oh, okay, that's more for me. And if I get to that sooner, if I get to that before she does, she doesn't have to have the stress of having that around. And I'm not thinking of, oh, she's going to like lose respect for me. I'm just thinking like, that's kind of my role. That's my job.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see it. I can see it. You know, the ball was like tipped up to me, you know?
That's the cool thing, because both of you guys have periods where, okay, she needs to step up a little bit here and help out and do something. And you guys had people that were with you that were like, you know what? You are someone who gets shit done. I trust that this isn't going to be where we're going to be forever. But like, you know, no one is on top forever. Sometimes life is just a constant upward trajectory, and that's great. But sometimes if you're hitting a low period, but you're still someone who is personal development, like you're going to find a way, you want someone with you who can be in that trench with you and who isn't just going to be like, I'm out. I'm gonna go find someone better because like you're not what I expected. You want someone who can be there with you while you have to figure that shit out, you know? So
they can support you, and they can kind of afford to wait a little bit for you to develop.
Sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes you're just a dude who's just always here, and that's great. But most people, there are ups and downs, and there's hopefully the person with you can be there with you and handle those ups and downs.
Yeah, and then be like super supportive, because like as we were trying to figure things out and she was making more money, like it was never a part of like conversation. It was never like, damn, we ran out of whatever eggs again or something. It's like, well, I guess I better go get us more, you know, because I make the money or whatever. Well, like it never came up, and it just, like I said, it afforded me an opportunity to like really go all in and, you know, make dreams come true. So, and I had that happen because I had an awesome partner.
There we go.
Well, I think it's really, really important to specify what leading means. And so right now we're talking about, you talked about, okay, we do the chores. Sometimes she pays more, sometimes I pay more. I think it's looking at a really superficial level. I think what you look at in a relationship when you look at leadership and the one that is following per se is who's the one holding down the emotional space? Like who has the capacity to show up as the rock the majority of the time in the dynamic? And if that is the woman, I believe for the most part, the polarity gets thrown off and there will be a deficiency in the sexual attraction that she'll have for you. If you are more excessively emotional and unstable than your wife, I do believe that's going to lead to issues in the relationship.
A man's job is to be the mountain that a woman's emotional waves crash into, like straight up. So women are always going to be more emotional than men. Men should be the stable ones. Men don't need to be crying in front of women. And ideally, they're not splitting chores. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
What do you guys think about the emotion thing real quick?
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's got to be solid.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like, it is good if you can maybe share emotions sometimes, but that doesn't mean you have to be constantly emotional. Doesn't mean you need to be constantly getting angry or constantly getting sad about things. Those things can happen, but you definitely, I would personally say, at least I can speak for myself, it's not something that is a constant with me. I'm fairly chill anyway, right? So I think that is important.
Yeah, I would say most of the couples I know, the guy is usually kind of chill, kind of kicked back, and the wife is maybe has a little more anxiety, and maybe has, even the moms that I know just have like more, which is understandable. Your mom, it's just they got more worry, and dad's like, yeah, I guess our kids are gonna clobber each other with those baseball bats. See what happens. Wait till one of them cries.
Totally just
Yeah.
totally just
So, and the only reason I didn't come sit down is because I have some really, really good women in leadership roles in my businesses, and they are absolute leaders. Now, they might lead under me, but I think they stand alone as leaders, and I respect them enough that I would never come sit down over that particular statement because it's too vague. But in the relationship, yes, sir, I do agree that a man should be the leader. He should be the breadwinner, and he should be the one solving all the problems out in the world and emotionally at home.
I'm glad again that you two say for work it's fine, but when it comes to our relationship, I got to be the one to wear the pants, and okay, let's not say pants. We'll use the person's word. I got to be the mountain that her emotions crash into. I tell you guys, we can be very emotional too, and I know there's a lot of guys in my 55 years that are way emotional than some of these women out here now that are taking charge. So I think that's
I agree with you. I agree with you. They are, but if you notice,
and I don't think it hurts the relationship either.
And if you notice, isn't it weird that nowadays they're talking about all these single, sexless men and all these guys having issues? Why do you think that is?
They're becoming more emotional than ever.
I think women are putting up with less bullcrap.
No, they're not
putting up.
I am not a sexless single guy.
No, I'm not saying you.
No, I'm just saying this. But
No one said you were.
my girlfriend is an emotional rock for me.
That's what I mean.
I'm sorry, but I gotta strongly disagree with everything you say. I'm also a breadwinner right now.
You guys agree and understand, like, all these things that we've been talking about can be reversed easily.
Yeah.
Like, it could be the woman that's, because as many chill guys as I know a couple where there's a few couples where there's like a role reversal, and the woman is the one who's less worried, and the guy is the one who's kind of, always chewing on his fingers, kind of.
Bit of an anxious hothead.
Yeah.
She's going through a time, and she wants to actually do something for herself, and I totally support that. But when it comes to an emotional, whatever you just said, that analogy, look, I mean, I think that's the problem also with a lot of toxicity that goes on, because a lot of men have emotions. You don't know how to express it, and then it turns into this opposite toxicity. How do I know this? I used to be one of them.
Me too.
It feels like a lot of these like rich millionaires are the ones that like have huge high divorce rates and things of that sort. And I think it's because they're just genuinely unhappy. Like, is your woman with you for your security, or did they actually like you as a person? And we're starting to see that, women want me at first, but I don't think it ends well, because after a while, like, they want you for your security. They don't want you for who you are as a person and things of that sort. And that's why we see these millionaires and all these, like, really alpha males getting high divorce rates, because I think at first it starts off with, like, security.
Money doesn't make you alpha.
Yeah, I think so.
No, not at all, man.
Yeah, I'm about to say you educate me. That's why I came here.
So you've gotten your labs done, whether it's 6 months ago or a year ago, and you want to know where things are at, but you don't want to get a full panel again. That's why I've partnered with Merrick Health, owned by Derek, for More Plates, More Dates, and we have something called the Checkup Panel. This is an affordable panel with 55 different labs that'll allow you to see all those different biomarkers, and you can get this channel every month or every 2 months, whatever frequency you like, but it'll give you all the specific labs that you want to know so that you can make sure that you're moving in the right direction for your specific hormones. Andrew, how can they get their hands on it?
Yes, that's over at marek.health.com/power project. That's MAREK health.com/power project. There you guys will see our checkup panel. Load that into your cart, and at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject10 to save 10% off of that panel. Again, marekhealth.com/power project. Links in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
A man can just be friends with an attractive woman.
We've had a conversation about this before. What are your thoughts, guys?
I don't know if I can really answer that question.
Is Andy going to listen to this podcast?
No, but I have. She won't, but I have friends that are women, and I would rather not comment on whether I think they're attractive or not.
Well,
So
yeah, like,
okay, when I think about it, like, I do have women, like, attractive female friends, but I don't go out of my way to go hang out with them alone. I'm not constantly texting them. If a conversation happens, but I'm not seeking to, like, oh, me and my friend are going to go on a hike.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
So then, in my opinion,
You're
then
like, in those shorts? Wait, hold on. No, I can't go. Sorry.
So then I would say that, like, maybe that's not necessarily a friend. It's more like an acquaintance. Because I think that maybe like a dude shouldn't have like female friends, especially who cares if they're attractive or not.
mm-hmm.
I just, like,
you think the closeness of the friendship matters. This is the thing. It's like,
yeah, I think so.
yeah, because
I last night hung out with one of my buddies. His wife was there, and then I invited both of them to my daughter's quinceañera.
Mm-hmm.
And then this morning she texted me asking like, oh, when was the date again? And I sent her, information.
Yeah.
So like, are we friends or are we like texting each other because I'm friends with her husband, right? Like I wouldn't be talking to this person if it wasn't my friend's wife. Like, you know, and I know that's a little bit different because like we're all married and stuff, but I wouldn't be texting this person randomly if she was just a friend.
Let's expand this a quick
Yeah,
because
sure.
I think I'm in a relationship. You guys are both married. I think there's like more context. Like we think about some of these people and then we think about the woman that we're with and we're just like, okay, just we need to be careful with these dynamics, right? If you guys were single, do you guys think you would have, if there were hot women around, could you just be friends with them? Just like, let's, you know, like would.
I think mainly you're friends with them just kind of in case.
Honesty.
You know? Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay. Because I think about, again, my friendships, even when I was single, I had friends that are women, but I wasn't just going and hanging out with them randomly. Like if they are attractive, I just knew that that might probably happen.
Yeah, I've never had a female friend. Like it's usually somebody that I was.
Yeah, I don't usually have a female friend either. It's like usually like a friend of the family. You know, it's like we all know the person or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
Let's take this a step further. Now it's going to get weird. Okay, so you see how in this question a man can just be friends with an attractive woman. So it means you have to find this person attractive. How do you feel about women you don't find attractive?
That doesn't change for me.
It doesn't change for you?
No, I still think that you shouldn't be putting energy towards that person.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think the level of attractiveness, I think it does matter to some extent. You know, like you ever hear about some of these celebrities and they're like, oh yeah, the guy hooked up with the nanny, and you're like, who in the fuck would have a nanny like that? You're like, oh my, yeah. Well, Schwarzenegger's situation was a little different because that was just like that was an unattractive woman. In my opinion. But
he must have been on trend.
Yeah, he was on some shit.
Yeah.
But you do see it a lot, and you're like, why did they pick like this young, beautiful girl to like watch their kids or whatever? I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah.
But I do think the attractiveness, I think it could matter. And also think just in general, like getting attention from somebody else outside of your marriage is not a good spot to be hanging out in. Like attention that you're enjoying, attention that you're seeking, you know, and like, oh, let's just go on this walk together. And it's like, well, that's a little odd, you know, that's a little strange. Unless it's like agreed upon and everybody knows each other and everyone's cool with each other, I guess that could be a different circumstance. But otherwise, it's kind of suspicious, I think.
Yeah, because like this is the thing, like dynamics are understood. It's important to understand dynamics are understood. You both are attractive men. You both are fit, right? If you, now if you put yourself in a situation with with an attractive woman, even though you guys are in relationships, this woman can probably see he's an attractive guy. You know, he's got his shit together. He looks good. You can also see, oh, she looks good, but you're just gonna bat that out of your mind and just let's have coffee. Right? It's just
you couldn't even.
It's just difficult.
Be in that situation. Period. Like I would just try to eject. Just no, can't make it or whatever it is. You just just blocking, dodging.
Okay, so is your answer? Both your answers no.
A man can I would say
just
no.
be friends with it.
I would say no.
Yeah. I would agree. I wouldn't put myself in that situation.
I think it's something that women should be aware of too.
I think women are aware of it though.
Well, good.
Yeah. because I think
you got to be careful. I think women have to be careful, not from a safety purpose necessarily, but that's always important. But just in terms of like giving the guy like wrong cues. Like a guy will pick up everything that could possibly be a cue for the guy to like you more or to put moves on you or to ask you out on a date. You have to really make it's not even a line. I think you have to kind of be a little bit mean, and that's why I don't think you can really be good friends that way.
Whenever my girl goes to the gym, she always comes back like it's at least 2 or 3 times a week. It's like, yeah, another guy hit on me. It's just like, and then whenever she puts him down, he's like, you can't have friends. This is the thing. Guys will hang around a chick for the chance to like, she's going through something. They're like sharks in the water, dog. It's like they're sniffing for it,
We're
you
just
know?
friends, though.
He's just my friend.
Shit.
He's just your friend.
Yeah, so I would say no from two perspectives is like dudes are going to be dudes, and if they see an attractive woman, eventually they're going to be turned on by them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the other no is like from a married standpoint, like I don't want to give my energy nor receive like any kind of Mark put it best, if I'm looking for that elsewhere, that means I'm not getting it at home, and that's just not a good place to be. So no.
I'm even careful, like women who I know, like I'm careful all the time, but women who I know they're in relationships, like I'm careful about the way I speak to them. I'm careful about the way I am around them, because like I don't want any weird signals being sent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think we all are fairly careful with that too.
Yeah, you try to picture as if your significant other was in the room. You know, you're gonna act, how are you gonna act if said woman is there and your wife is there?
Mm-hmm.
You try to act that way, like as your wife or girlfriend. Are they cool with seeing you interact with this person in this way? If not, then your behavior is probably a little suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Can?
Tat.
No technicalities, bro.
So I think it's all about, again, as we've been saying before, it's all about choices. I think if you find a woman attractive, it depends on, are you going to choose to pursue her or not? But for some of us, like if we're speaking from personal experience, I've met many attractive women, and that's not the only thing that, I'm looking for. It's also about personality. So she can be a 10, but if it's like the personality is just, someone who doesn't challenge me on a spiritual level, emotional level, someone who also is like emotionally unavailable, like then it doesn't really matter.
I have friends who I would consider very attractive, but then at the same time when I think about it, I wouldn't be able to stand like being alone in a room with them for like more than like 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
I can acknowledge if like certain female friends of mine are
Loki saying
attractive,
hot
but
girls
doesn't
are
mean I'm
annoying.
like sexually attracted to them. And it comes to a point where like I see them as like sisters or just such close friends that even like the thought of them naked like grosses me out, because like I just don't see them that way. I see them as like very close, like
He's the guy that's going to be around your girl and being like, we're just friends. I get grossed out just thinking about her naked.
Angelo's very interesting, dog. Even his whole aesthetic. He's very interesting, But anyway, yeah. It's a cool answer.
and things of that sort. And sometimes like you grow up with certain women and you see them as like a sister, or you see them as a close friend, and you just grow up and you don't see her like that.
Fundamentally,
Yeah, those 34 double D tits are disgusting. So gross.
There are a few women who
we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tits look different. They don't look as appetizing. They don't look like I want to motorboat them.
Oh my God. I do have a question for y'all though, because have you guys, do you know anybody, are there any women that you guys have grown up around who you still know or still keep in contact with, or not really?
No.
I was curious about that because there are women who have grown up around and now they're adults. They're attractive, but I can't see them that way because they're literally I feel like they're my sisters. They're not, but I feel like they're my sisters. So it's that's just nah, I was just curious if that's happened to you guys too.
Is it natural to not be attracted to a very attractive woman to you? I don't think so.
Nope.
But with a lot of intention with it, and your priorities are elsewhere, and you're very intentional with how you're showing up in that space, I think you can do it. And I think that was the question, if it can be done, not if it's natural or not.
If I'm attracted to you, honestly, I'm trying to smash. We gotta have sex, and we have to be in some type of sexual situation, or I don't really want to, interact with you. On top of that, I don't believe in giving women non-sexual attention unless we're in a relationship. And the reason why is because I feel like non-sexual attention from a man towards a woman is very valuable. So I'm not just giving you that just to be friends. So I'm saying I'm not just going to do that for you. And so what it is that if I'm going to do that for you, you have to be under my program, which means that we're in some sort of sexual relationship between me and you. You see what I'm saying? So that's how
we got to be fucking.
I think that men and women can be friends. It's just not because the man wants to. Most often, it's the man is trying to sleep with the woman.
Right.
And he's trying to hang around long enough for her to slip up and make that happen. I mean, let's keep it 100.
Exactly.
Right? So, can they? Yes. And that would have been the technicality. When I saw you moving, I'm like, must be something to hang, right? But overall, most of the time, you're not going to see a man be friends with a very overweight woman. You're not going to see a man be friends with a very unattractive woman unless there's some kind of financial reward there.
Justin, he has to come on the podcast. But, yo, I mean, it's kind of rough to say. God. I don't even want to, how do you, that, okay, so he's tuned in, bro, like, because, yo. What do you guys think? Just come below what your thoughts are on that. That's kind of fucked up, but at the same time, like there is some truth there. If he actually, I think he said a business relationship or a financial relationship, but if there's nothing there, maybe they're art friends or something, or hobby friends, and there's no attraction there. That's why I asked you guys actually, what if you're not attracted to them? I think. That's much easier probably to just be a friend with that person because there's literally no attraction there, at least on your side. But that's, what do you guys think in the comments? How savage is that?
I think in the other direction though, it'd be very similar. You know, that if it's a very heavy male, they might have less female friends. I think people are really judgmental of people that are very, people that are obese, people that are heavy.
Yeah.
This is where we're at.
By and largely, I don't buy guy friends, particularly with any girl I'm seeing. It's like, yeah, right.
I think when I think about it, like, and I had a technicality on the other side because I'm like, yeah, part of me really believes that can happen. But then I go back to my experience in life and my friends, and it's really hard. I was running over there in my head, like, should I sit down? But I was running all these scenarios from life experience of my friends who have said that, girls and guys, because it's not just guys, and it's never worked out that way. It just never is. And I think if you find a person can be an attractive person and you not find that person attractive and you be friends.
You have friendship and attraction.
That's my thing.
Yeah,
Part of the relationship is friendship and getting along. And then on top of it, you find that person attractive.
No way.
I just think it's a very rare thing. Yes, a person can be attracted to me and you not find them attractive, and I can be friends with that person. But if I'm finding that, or if you're finding that person attractive and you build a friendship
and you connect,
then you probably want to be with them.
That's like, I don't think Adam and Micah say it doesn't exist, but to me, just again, in my experience in life and just knowing my friends and people, I don't know one that has worked out that way.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like your own experiences. Obviously, if that's what you've seen or that's what you personally experienced, that like you yourself couldn't be in a friendship with a woman, like, again, that's your personal experience though. Whereas the question is like, can any man, be in a regular friendship with a woman?
Like a real friendship, like they're actually really friends?
Yeah.
And he not want to sleep with her and find her attractive? No.
I think it's BS.
Because like at that point, like most girls talk about like.
I love how blunt they are because it's like, and she's attractive and I don't want to fuck her? What?
Wait a second. What do you mean?
It doesn't compute.
That was so funny.
Oh God.
About like what is an attractive woman, right? Are we talking about just looks? Because in this case, like there are people who like honestly don't like have sexual like desires for a woman who isn't like emotionally linked.
I think is she attractive to you?
Yeah.
I think that's like the basis of it. When you look at specific situations, so for some of these females that work for you, for example, if they're very attractive, do you feel, I would imagine you have the capacity to compartmentalize that?
Gift from God. Yeah, man. The second I sign their check, it's gone.
It's gone, right? So I think it's the same thing with friends as significant others as well. It's like I have the ability to compartmentalize it where it's like, all right, this attraction just dissipates.
Kind of like what you were talking about before, Andrew, your friend and his wife. Like, I have friends that have wives. I don't look at them in that way. Like, even if they're attractive, it's just like, there's, it's a very different dynamic, So.
A man friends with an attractive woman. If there's that barrier of him being in a relationship or you working for them.
Well, first of all, we're not friends. You work for me.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, damn, I had something there. But when he was talking about like, as soon as I sign the check, like it goes away or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, he's not friends with them. They are employees. There's like titles there. There's a divider. It's not somebody that he's just speaking to, like just randomly.
Oh yeah.
So like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I care about you fully. You're part of the family, but you work for me. We're not personal friends. And me and you will not be in an atmosphere we're alone.
Right. So when you go back to it, is it a thing where if you're both single, do we all think that you could be friends with an attractive woman? If we're both single.
Hell no.
Nope. I don't know.
No.
I don't
know.
Power Project family, shut your fucking mouth. We've been talking about breathing through your nose and nasal breathing during your sleep for the past 5 years. That's why we've partnered with Hostage Tape. It's the best tape on the market, sticks to your face even if you have a beard. So head to hostagetape.com/powerproject and you'll be able to get a year's supply of tape for 55 cents a day. That shit saves you $150. It's a no-brainer. Links in the description and the podcast show notes. Enjoy the show.
A man should not cry in front of his kids.
Okay. What are you guys' thoughts? You guys have kids.
Oh man, I thought they were gonna say in front of his wife or a girl.
I don't see anything wrong with crying.
I don't. I personally don't see a problem with it either. But I'm trying to think.
Have you guys ever seen?
I don't think I've ever seen my dad cry.
Ever.
I see him get like teary eyed a little bit, but not like I've never seen like a tear. I could be way off, but like nothing comes to mind. And again, my dad's pretty old school, Mexican, traditional, like hardcore, macho. But no, I mean, I've cried in front of my daughter before. Like no big deal there. I'm sure it'll happen in front of my son at some point.
Do you mind sharing like with this? What happened?
Yeah, sure. Like I was feeling like depressed, and I just remember telling her I felt sick.
Yeah.
And then she was like confused, and like I had to kind of explain like, I feel like there's a dark cloud over me like all the time.
Yeah.
And then so like it was kind of weird. And then like looking at it now, like I wish I didn't explain what was going on because now I introduced depression, like it was a thing, And I said like I'm sick, like I feel sick.
Okay, but let me ask you this: you were depressed?
Yes. Oh, yes, I was. But I'm saying like looking back, like I wish I used different terminology.
Okay.
Like I'm looking at it as like a learning experience now. But like I remember that's when like I was like because she noticed it, and I was just like, oh, like damn, like I'm in a weird spot, but I'll just tell you how like what's going on.
Can I ask you a question about that? So, but do you think that you crying at that moment and explaining to her, do you regret crying?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
Not at all because like it was just life, and like I feel like for kids sometimes life comes very fast, and it was like one of those things where she could have seen it and then maybe like I didn't explain it or something, and then like she might have been like even more confused versus me being upset at myself for like using the like in my opinion like wrong terminology. Like
yeah.
I'm upset at that. I'm not upset at like crying in front of her at all. Not at all. Yeah.
And I look at that. I'm not like I look at that and see kind of a healthy thing as a kid to be able to see. Okay, he has feelings. He's able to share those feelings. It's not crushing him, and it's not wrong to have those feelings. Because like I know some people who, and even myself, like when I was younger, I never really saw. My mom was a single parent. But I never saw much sway in her emotions really much, which was a great thing because she knew she had to keep it stable, which is partly why I'm also kind of monotone in terms of shit. But I saw how like in my early 20s, because I was that way, I mean, I was kind of cold for a while until I was like, okay, it's okay to feel those things or to express those things, right? I don't know if have you ever seen your dad cry?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've seen him cry a bunch of times. And I think your kids seeing you cry, I mean, if a kid's going to see you laugh, why can't they see you cry? Kid's going to see you mad and pissed off or whatever, like, why can't they see you cry? I think crying is just an emotion, and I think it's healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's positive, so.
It ain't popular. It's not going to be popular to say this. But ideally, you're not going to cry in front of your kids. They cry to you. Is it fair? No. Is life fair? No. Is the dynamic between a man, a woman, a child fair? No. But personally for me, I want to take that responsibility of being the one that's stronger than all of them. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that responsibility. I want that responsibility in my life. I want to feel like I was a hero to them in every way. And I don't think a man that cries in front of his family is not the hero. But ideally, I'm not going to be doing that.
Right. It's weird. I've never actually seen my dad cry till this day. Like not even once. The kids is looking to their father for that strength. And so if they're seeing their dad cry, right, I feel like that creates fear in the situation the kid has with their father. If you're crying in front of your kids, it's the same thing as crying in front of your girl. It's a bad representation of what you're supposed to be in that situation for them.
Now I'll tell you when I do cry. Bro, when you see like one of those kids with Down syndrome get put in a high school basketball game, he starts nailing threes and the gym goes crazy, bro, I'll be crying.
I know what he's saying. But yeah, I cry when I see those disabled kids, man. Like, that's cute. Like, when they're doing good work, it's great.
Yeah,
I get what he's saying though.
But he could have been like when like somebody in like in the army comes back from being deployed and they see their kid or something. Like that shit gets me all the time. Or like when their dog sees them for the first time or something,
and it goes crazy.
Yeah, like that shit that'll tear me apart.
All right, wait, what do you?
Shit's funny.
So, what do you guys think about? Again, I don't have a kid, but what do you guys think about what they mentioned there? You know, they're like they'll see you as weak, and
I think context matters a lot.
Yeah,
like if they see you crying because the Kings lost or something, your favorite sports team lost, then it's like, well, wait a second there. Or if I come out of this tournament and I get smoked by everybody, and then I'm explaining it to my daughter and I start crying there, like I think. I don't know if she would lose respect for me over that, but like again, if I like when my grandmother died and I'm crying over that or something, like obviously like that's fine, right? I think that's okay. That's healthy for her to see like us go through the emotions and stuff like that. But again, if it's over, I don't know, like dude, like somebody slashed my tires. What am I gonna do with myself
Helpless.
now? Yeah. Like I think then maybe it can be like, damn, dad can't keep his shit together. Like, what the heck, man? Maybe I got to step up now. Like I think that could happen.
I think crying just helps you work through stuff. So you cry and then you are fine. So you crying is almost more amazing than laughing. Like you'll laugh and then there's really no residual of a laugh. Like a laugh just ends. You stop smiling and you kind of
piss. That's all.
You kind of forget what you were laughing about in the first place.
You pee when you laugh.
But when you cry, you usually like have worked. I'm not all the time, but most of the time you kind of worked through something and you come out the other side stronger. So I think there's a reason. In Terminator 2, when Arnold picks up that little kid who's wearing like suspenders, he like picks him up and looks at him, and he's like, "I'll never understand why you cry," and he puts the kid back down. There's some people that think that they have to try to go through life without crying, and I think that crying's amazing. I think you should try to laugh every day and cry every day. It's a Jimmy Valvano speech. If you've never seen it before, you should look it up. It's like the most amazing speech ever. But I think it's important to get yourself to go through these emotions, and why not explain emotions to your kids? Why not say, hey, the other day when I, got mad and got frustrated and I pounded my fist on the table, like I was wrong. I was out of control. I don't like you seeing me like that. I'm sorry that happened, but I was really frustrated. The bills are coming in or whatever the hell the thing is that's bugging you. And you can say, and then if you end up in a situation where you're crying, say, well, your grandmother just died. That's my mom, and this is what happened. And they might be crying as well. And you can just talk to them about it.
Yeah, it's a teaching moment, and that actually what you mentioned there with the anger thing too. It's like if you find a day where like if something like that happens, it's a great thing to explain to your kid. Like, fuck, that wasn't a good representation of how I should have shown that. That's what it was. That's a teaching moment. It's not something you have to, especially as a guy. I don't personally think it's something you always have to hide away. And I don't have kids. I've never seen my dad cry. I've known my dad throughout my life. Never seen him cry, but I mean, I don't think that I'd automatically think he's weak if I saw tears come down his eyes.
For the kid. It's like happy. I'm like laughing. I'm like, but
Other than that, man, no, not at all.
Example.
Calm the heat.
Can the person who has kids?
I was gonna look. I have a father who I've never seen cry, so I get that. I was that man. Again, you have to understand my kids. My middle daughter, who I'm going to talk about, is 26 years old. Now, for some reason, out of all three of my children, that middle girl, from the time she turned 13 to 17, 18, we just butted heads, right? And the relationship wasn't going to where it should be going. And I want to be close to my kids. We sat down, she was about 20, maybe 19, 20 years old. We had a heart-to-heart about our feelings and how we really felt about each other, and I cried. And 6 years later, some years later, better relationship than we've ever had because she saw a human part of me and not just me trying to be what you guys are talking about, which is a good thing too. You can count, my wife can count on one hand how many times she's seen me cry. I think my son had, and my other daughter have it. But I'm going to tell you, for that enriching moment, and that's again just coming with years, of having those tears with her and talking about how important it was that our relationship worked, and then hearing her come back and saying she felt the same way and breaking through that, I'm the father, I'm going to be the strong one, made her break down, and both of us be closer than we ever have been.
Can I ask you a question about that? Do you think that if you could have set her down earlier than the age that you did and just had a vulnerable conversation, that maybe it could have happened? Like, it wouldn't have had to build all the way up to tears?
No.
She wouldn't have been able to hear it, or?
No, because what was going on from my understanding of our relationship is that, you know, young people, I'm very independent, my children are very independent. They don't want to be controlled in a certain way. And as a father, you still have to keep that control. She was only seeing that side. So she was only seeing this domineering person trying to squish what she thought that she wanted to be or who she wanted to be. And that wasn't it. I was just trying to play the father role. I saw my dad do it. Never a tear. He's that man, you know, and I was raised by that man, and I took that on. I remember sitting my son down and telling him, boys don't cry. And I still to this day regret that. And I still talk to him, he's 24. I still talk to him about, I was wrong. Because I do not think that's the way we're supposed to live our lives. And I think that's why you go back to the statistic of how a lot of men are depressed. We're supposed to have emotions. We're human. Now, I don't believe every time you turn around, you should be in front of your children, ooh, and your wife, like, you know, I think that's a drastic thing. But I know dropping a tear as a father for me made a relationship and so much closer and so much better than it would. I'm telling you, I know than it would have ever been.
You don't think you could have shown that vulnerability without the tear?
No.
My dad was capable of expressing emotion, not from the standpoint of being a whiny little baby. He held it down on my family. My parents are the happiest couple ever seen, still to this day. But my dad was able to, and still is able to, at funerals, be able to show emotion. During movies, when he feels the emotion, be able to show up and do that. I'd never see him whining about, like what you guys are saying, whining about just issues happening in his life, like at work and what he's doing. Never. He deals with that on his own. But he is showing up vulnerably when he is experiencing an emotion, not from a whiny baby place, but from a freeness that he has with it. And I even think, like, when I first went off to college, you know, he's tearing up too.
So I would just like to say, this is a field I specialize in. I'm a program manager for a nonprofit that focuses on mental health. And a lot of the times what we get in our clients are men that are coming in dealing with childhood trauma, these expectations and standards of trying to live up to the quote unquote masculine ideal. So a lot of the times we have men coming in because they're still trying to seek approval in their 30s, or they're still trying to get that male validation, you know, in their 40s. And it goes back to making sure we understand the difference between regulating your emotions and suppressing them. I think that's why I said earlier, like, to be an alpha, you have to be balanced. You guys can be emotional as well. You guys can be vulnerable. It doesn't make you less than.
You guys ever find yourself like suppressing emotion? Like,
probably subconsciously, but not anything I've really noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, but I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why don't they have enough room for Anthony? Like every time, like he's like in the middle. Like for anybody that's watching the video rather than just listen to the podcast,
yeah,
this guy's like crammed in the middle for some reason. They have like not enough space on the stage or something.
He's pretty jacked. Like
yeah,
that's
he's
why.
kind of jacked, and they don't have room for him.
Yeah.
Like a woman being more assertive doesn't make her less than a woman. If you feel like you don't want to promote being emotional in front of your kids, you know, I've asked the question, does that kind of fall into toxic masculinity for your son?
Well, first, I didn't say anything about not being vulnerable. Vulnerable is the word that I brought up. So I think being vulnerable is very important. I think physically crying in front of your kids is not ideal. This is not about an ego stroke or trying to be overly masculine. I think being vulnerable as a man is one of the strongest things a man can actually do. It's just that I don't think that crying, particularly sobbing, is going to be very healthy as the leader and the person that they're supposed to come to for that safety and that care.
But isn't real vulnerability then you're just not being honest? Be like, yo, babe, sorry. I had this thing. I left and I cried. But now I'm here to be strong with you. That's real vulnerability.
I can't think of a scenario where I'd leave to cry.
Yeah.
See,
But needing feels performative. I'm trying to show you how vulnerable I am.
No, it's not necessarily showing. I
think you can be very vulnerable without crying.
Yeah. People just express their sadness in different ways.
You can be, but I heard what you guys were saying earlier, and I agree with that. It's like, you don't want to be a crybaby about things. We don't, right?
What type of shit makes you guys cry? Like outside
I was
of
just
death.
thinking about this.
I was also thinking about, they keep saying like crybaby. I actually think a worse thing to do in front of your children is complain rather than, I would rather cry than complain, because complaining just does nothing.
It does nothing.
No, I was trying to think, like, damn, when was the last time, like, not that it's been like hell of times, but I took my daughter to go watch the newest Black Panther movie. That opening scene when they're like celebrating.
I cried.
Dude,
I had tears coming. I wasn't like,
my heart was pounding as she's trying to like get the Purple Heart like going, and I'm like, oh god, oh no, and like it was already happening there, and then like the celebration, dude, I'm just like, fuck, dude, we're going, and like just pouring, right? And I'm like, my gosh, both of us are just like handing each other tissues, and so like that got us both, but like that was. How cool is that moment?
Yeah,
we're both in the theater and we're both just like, like this is so sad. Like,
I cry at cute shit all the time. Like, I see some cute puppy or something doing something on Instagram, man. Like that'll get a few. That'll get a few, man.
Yeah, and then if she like does anything, it's like she performs. She did she had 2 plays this school year, and it's like every time she came out, it's like, oh my god, like there she is. So stuff like that, that'll get me.
Yeah, being really proud of something or proud of someone. Someone reaches a cool accomplishment that they've been working hard for. It's hard not to get choked up about it. You're like, oh, it's really cool. I know how hard they were working for it. I think, obviously like things like people dying and there's all kinds of shit to cry about. But sometimes, like, again, I don't view crying as being any different as being like happy. And sometimes you cry because you're happy. A song could just hit and I'll cry.
Oh yeah,
like
middle of a workout.
But sometimes a song hits and it gets me like fired up in a different way. Sometimes it's just a beautiful day out. I'm like, I'm grateful. Like, this is fucking cool. And sometimes just the power of all that just hits me. I feel like overwhelmed by it. It feels good, and it like fills me up.
Yeah. There we go.
For instance, if I'm at a funeral and this person meant something to tell me, no, can't do that. Or I see something on television or a movie that moves me, like, you can't do that. It's like kind of like a very weird thing. And I think you guys touched upon that.
There's just like a weird stigma behind like crying, because it seems like we keep associating crying with weakness. And the issue is that, like, again, there is a big difference between crying and sobbing. So hysterically sobbing, like, I think that should only do if you, like, say you lost a loved one, like really close to you, like say like your significant other, say like horrible accident, like stuff like that. Like there are obviously scenarios for that. For like regular crying, again, kind of like we all touched upon, that we're not saying that you have to cry every other day, but like there are like cases where it's okay. It should be okay.
As kids, we look up to our dads to be able to how do we react to certain scenarios? Do you feel that, like, okay, like for instance, like my dad didn't cry. I don't think I've ever seen my dad cry. I've seen very bad like sad scenarios, straight face, and I feel like I developed that as like a kid. Like as I got older, like I have to keep this inside because that's exactly just how I saw my dad do it. How would you basically like explain to your kids how they feel like they should let out their sadness? Should they keep, especially if you feel like you're not really expressing sad emotions in front of them?
I think probably the best thing I can do is like explain to you what my goal as a father is to explain them the truth of the world. Truly, hey, this is the truth of the world. This is how the world is. Here's some competencies and things you can do to set yourself up, because my ultimate goal for my children is to have choice. So I can have a son, he could be gay, he could cry. He could be straight, he could cry. Like I could have daughters that were dominant masculine. I don't care as long as they have choice. I personally, my preference and what I aspire to be and what I want to be and what I get to be is that strong man for my family.
We all kind of believe that, like, we have to be a hero for our kids, right? Especially when they're super young. And honestly, I agree. I think it's totally, like, you need to be a role model for your kids, and you need to be a safe space, which I completely agree with. But things happen as they grow up, you know what I mean? Especially when they go towards their teen years, when they start being more in touch with their emotions, when they're actually like feeling a lot of different things and feeling the pressure of society and everything that's collapsing around them. Sometimes they don't just need like a hero, they need a father to like commune with, to like actually talk with.
I've heard you say multiple times that your dad was your hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, my dad just, yeah, if I could be the same dad to my kids as he was to me, then I think mission accomplished. That'd be pretty cool.
This was a good video.
That was, I've never heard of Jubilee before. And,
Yeah.
And I'm way behind, 8.2 million subscribers. Holy crap.
Some of their stuff, man, you see some of their conversations and people just don't let people talk. You know what I mean?
Because they get mad probably, huh?
People get mad. People get annoyed at the opinions of other people. So they start to like be super emotional and shit. But all these guys, like even though they had differing opinions, it was you could see how there was somewhat of a middle ground between things other than Mr. Lucario. Mr. Lucario was, he's pretty interesting. But yeah, that was really interesting. What do you guys think in the comments? Hopefully you answered the questions because we're gonna pick a giveaway winner in the next video. But what do you guys think of this? It was pretty good.
Yeah, it ended up kind of going all over the place.
Yeah,
We talked about so many different topics.
Yeah, really good, like put together questions for the conversation. You know, like they sparked a lot of back and forth. That's really cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I think just in terms of parenting, I think not that it's everyone's goal to have children, but if you yourself have children, you're trying to make your kids formidable enough and strong enough to eventually one day have their own children and be able to lead them. And I think the best way to have them turn into leaders is for parents to both show them how to lead. I don't think it has to come from just the dad. I don't think it has to just come from the mom. I think you can learn from both. And some information I've heard recently that the children's education has a lot to do with the mom's education. So the smarter the woman that you pick, the smarter that because in a lot of cases, the kids end up spending a lot of time with the mom, and then also the mom's fitness level too. So another reason for you to be nitpicky and make sure that these women are getting on a scale every morning, afternoon, and night, and making sure they're not gaining a single pound is
put those chips down.
Yeah, just put the fucking chips down.
Well, they're not going to have friends that are overweight anyways. So
see,
yeah, they're already on the right path.
But the mom's by her friends.
The mom's fitness level has a lot to do with the children's fitness level as well. So I don't know. You want to make sure some of those things are intact. You follow the stats. Take us on out of here, Andrew.
Let us know what you guys think about this conversation, and make sure you guys answer all the questions because you won't be entered to win.
And join the Discord.
Yeah, this without answering all the questions and being a part of the Discord. So make sure you guys do that. And if you don't know where the Discord is, check the links down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. And make sure you guys are subscribed and hit that like button. Follow the podcast at MB Power Project all over the place. My Instagram is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where you at?
There is no one way to make a relationship work. I think that was a really good idea from this vid. But at Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, and Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Discord's down below. Mark.
I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.